Alright guys, it is finally the weekend. We have all the parts to put this motor back together. I'm going to go down there to the barn and we're going to go put this motor back together. Alright, let's see what this thing can do. There's 60. I'm here by myself today. Finally got the gasket maker. So what I'm going to start doing right away is I'm going to start scraping the whole block down, doing the head mating surfaces, the front timing cover surface, and the oil pan surface. I'm just doing that for now, and then at some point I'm going to have to figure out how to get the rear main seal off. Same with the plate as well. So I'm going to start off with scraping the gaskets, and then gonna probably throw in the head studs and possibly throw in the heads at the same time. So you guys will see that in a second. I got this side of the block all scraped up. This is as clean as I can get it because I don't have any acetone wipes to wipe this down, but this will definitely do. Everything you see like that is it's all flat, nothing to worry about. So what I did, since I don't have a vacuum, I stopped it from falling inside these coolant valleys and oil galleys and stuff like that. What I did was I just tipped the motor over 90 degrees, so when the junk falls, it just falls onto the ground. So no worries there with anything getting inside your motor. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to scrape up the mating surfaces for the timing cover and do our oil pan surface next. Alright, I got the motor all cleaned up, ready to go, ready for all the mating surfaces. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is pulling apart this oil pump. What we got right here from Boundary Racing, we have our oil pump gears. These gears were made for the factory oil pump housing. So these will work, I believe, anywhere from a 93 to 04, 46, and possibly even a 54 will take these oil pump gears. So I'm going to take this apart and we're going to put the new ones in. Pump housing all torn apart. Here are the original gears. If I can pull this out. So in case you guys were wondering, I'm going to put this back in, how oil pump gears work. So when this center ring right here that you guys see right in here, this is driven by the crankshaft right here. So when this is spinning, you can see it's closed here, starts opening up, and then it starts coming back to close. So when this is spinning, it's dragging the oil in from here, from the pickup tube, and it's running along, throwing it into this valley here, and it's getting pumped back into the motor through this port right here. So that is how an oil pump works. Now the biggest reason why I'm upgrading with these Boundary oil pump gears is that these like to shatter. These are not very reliable. They are very good for a factory setup, but since I'm upgrading, I'm doing higher RPM, and this motor has 132,000 miles on it. So whatever preventative maintenance I can do to make sure that this engine runs correctly and as well as it should, I might as well do it since I'm in here. So I'm going to put the new gears in and go from there. I got the new oil pump gears in here. They rotate nicely, no issues. They don't have any playing them up and down, so they're all good. I did look online to see what the torque spec was for these bolts here. They are T30 Torx bits. It says to torque them to 90 inch-pounds or 7.5 foot-pounds. So I just tightened them down by hand, and I got them tight enough, and I did a cross pattern with all of them so that the plate went down evenly. I did oil them up, made sure they moved correctly and all that. Next thing I did was I cleaned the mating surfaces, because these have to be super clean. They have to be dry when you're putting them in the motor. Bring it on over the motor. Did the same thing over here. I scraped down the mating surfaces for this plate, and we're ready to put on the new pump and torque these bolts down. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, we got our oil O-ring gasket set right here. Pretty simple. Got our pickup tube, old gasket, we're going to replace. I'm going to find a matching one. I don't have one. That sucks donkey. Alright, we're moving on since we weren't able to. I don't have an O-ring for the oil pump pickup tube. So I'm going to have to order up one of these since it is a specific to this pickup tube, and I don't want to mess with that. So I'm going to order one of those. I also forgot my head gaskets, so I can't mount the heads on. But at least we can put the studs in. So that's what we're going to do. I already prepped the block. I chased the threads in there. Those are all good. So we are going to be putting in the head studs right here. We've got our torque sequence. Surprisingly enough, you only torque these heads down to 70 foot-pounds in the final sequence, which is a lot less than I thought it was going to be. So we're going to go with that. Got our nice ARP sticker in there. Going ahead and looking at these studs. We have our assembly loop. We got our washers. We got our nuts. We got our studs. We're doing some research when installing these. You don't put any anti-seize on the threads that go into the block or anything like that. No lubricant. Everything's dry. Make sure everything's good. And you also do not torque these down inside the block. I've seen people do it before. It's not good, but if you torque these down, they will snap. It's not good. You're only torquing down the nuts. When you're putting these in, they're only hand tight. It's as simple as that. Next clip you're going to see is us putting in the studs. There we go. Alright, we got the heads on. Head studs are in. The washers and the nuts are on. We set our torque wrench to 25 foot-pounds, which is what ARP suggests. We start off here, 25 foot-pounds, go around 50 foot-pounds, and then 70 foot-pounds. And you're done. No angles or nothing like that. Just 70 foot-pounds for a final torque, and we'll follow the pattern here and go from there. Heads are all on, everything's torqued down. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to throw in the cams and start doing the timing chains after that. Alright, Alright, we got one head done. We got all the cams in there. Got all the followers, lifters, all that stuff. That's all in there, ready to go. Right now we're swapping everything from the passenger side head over to this head. As you can see, we got half of these in there already. And then after that, we'll get the cams in, finish it up, and then we'll put on the secondary timing chains for the heads. So got our motor here, cams are already in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to torque the caps down for the cams. And I torque them down to 90 foot-pounds. It says right there, I got a bunch of things on the internet saying otherwise, but I'm just going to go with this because this is straight out of the book. And then we're going to follow this torque sequence, and after that, we'll put on the timing chains. Putting these cams in, I decided to keep the rollers and lifters in the heads just because it's going to make it a lot easier for me, and I also don't have to buy a special tool to put them in. So when doing your timing chains, we're obviously starting with the secondaries. On the passenger side head, the right head, you'll see these cam gears here. On this side of the on this head, you can see this ridge right here. This spacer is on the outside. You'll see these cam gears are lined up with this tensioner. But if you go to the driver's side or the left head, you can see that spacing is on the back side. That's something that I didn't hear about until about a week ago, and obviously when looking at it, you can see that they definitely cannot go in the same direction. So passenger side, put them on backwards and you'll be good to go. Got this side on. It was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So I made a wrench, made it at work. It's crude, but it works because these aftermarket cams have these are 1.5 inches right here, so you can put a wrench on them to turn them over. Stock cams, those are different. Those don't have those, so you're gonna have to do it the actual proper way. But the motor's at top dead center. Cylinder 1 is. We had both of these cams. You can see these little keyways here. I turned this one to go straight down towards the crankshaft, and it actually stayed in place with some exhaust or exhaust valve tension on it, intake tension on it. And then I had my buddy turn this cam over so we could get everything lined up, and it was actually really easy. You can see on the new timing chains, for the little dot, they have a little key, or a little, one of the chain sprockets has a different color on it, and same with the other side. You see the little indent there that they're supposed to line up with, and it's the same thing over here. Both these have keyways. We're going to end up turning these keyways straight down towards the crankshaft, get this timing chain on, and start doing the primaries. So I turned it over, got the intake cam, got the keyway facing down, and I also turned this cam over just a little bit, so it's pretty close. So I'm going to have my buddy here turn the cam over just a little bit, get this one close lined up, keep going, keep going, keep going, a little more. I have a lot of tension. A little more. Alright, we're on. Slide this on all the way. It'll go. There we go. Alright, go ahead and let go. And see these keyways are lined up all good, and he's off, and there you go, your tensioner is on. All done. So another thing that most people don't tell you when you upgrade cams is the factory bolts that hold down the cam gears will not work with comp cams. So what you have right here is you have this stock 6-point bolt, upgraded one. It's an ARP bolt. Let's see if I can get a part number for you. There's the package. There's your part number. There you go. You have to get these upgraded bolts to run comp cams, and then you can go away and put it all back together. Alright, it's the end of the day. I'm done working on the motor for now. Gonna come back possibly next weekend. Yeah, next weekend. And I'm gonna put the motor back in and go from there. It's gonna be pretty easy. So thank you guys for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.